is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. We're going to talk about 15 free agents that you didn't know right now that is not on any basketball team. That includes China, Turkey, Greece, no matter where, including the NBA, even G League. These are 15 players with notable names that is not on a team at all. Crazy part about it is it was more, but a lot of them start going overseas or finding a spot on a bench of another team that's competitive. Another thing is this isn't an order of who's the best available. This is just 15 players that we do know and we do respect, and we will be surprised if they weren't on the roster. A lot of these players are older. They're not as athletic. They're not the same player. They're not in their heyday, but they still can contribute. They still can play, and they can at least be a seventh, eighth, or a ninth person, or even 10th on the roster, or even be able to come in on injuries and still give some type of production in 15 to 25 minutes, depending on the talent level of the team. Like I always try to tell my subscribers, at the end of the day, a lot of the time, depending on who your coach is and how they use you and what spots they put you in, what your role is and who your teammates is, your job can be a lot easier, your job can be a lot more frustrating, or you just don't have the same impact depending on how that goes. So keep that in the back of your mind. Some of these players are only good in specific roles now. Some of these players can only do certain things at this point of their career, and the coaches in the organization has to make sure that's known before signing these players, because they can look a lot worse, or they just won't be able to play at the NBA level after this season. And some of these guys haven't even played in a while because they've been trying to make a roster, so they have to hold out until they're available, and that mostly does come when injuries occur through the season or before the season, like we've seen with DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins go down. Now Dwight Howard, Joakim Noah, Maurice Spates, Kenneth Faried, they get looks because they're available and they're bigs, but they might not have made a roster if it wasn't for a guy like DeMarcus Cousins going down, opening up the opportunity for them to come in and play. And we seen the same thing happen to Kenneth Faried last year when Clint Capella went down. He was able to get signed and he was able to play. So this is the players that you know and I know, but they at the point of their twilight of their careers. J.R. Smith. This is a guy that has a little bit of mobility left. Not a great defender at this point. Still can knock down threes. Still can create his own shot every blue moon. And if you give him a role where he's playing off other stars, he can still be an impact player from three, and he can even get out in transition and be a threat still to this day. Main problem is he has personality problems, inconsistent play, and his reputation around the league has got diluted as he has had a lot of immature incidents throughout this last 3 to 4 years. Kenneth Faried, his lack of being a great defender and not really being able to shoot and space out the floor is really catching up to him, and that's one of the main reasons why he is struggling to find a roster. Kenneth Faried's ideal role is playing off the bench and giving quality minutes 15 to 25 and playing with other stars that make his job of rolling to the rim and being a mid-range guy to a certain extent a lot more viable and a lot more better. Joakim Noah, I'm a little surprised because everybody said that they love Joakim Noah. He had a good season for the Memphis Grizzlies. He was able to really show that he can still play. He can still set screens. He can still pass. His jump shot is still okay. So he shows that he can be a solid third string to second string center. Only problem is nobody has really picked him up, and his ability not to really be athletic and mobile and be the defender that he once was, and he's not a great rebounder, and he cannot space the floor. As a big that can play the five, that has been a detriment to his career. Carmelo, his perception has been destroyed. Never really was known for his defense or being a great defender. Never really been known as a guy that was a pass first guy. But this is still a guy that you can get a ball to. He can hit a mid range jumper. He can get hot. He can still give you 10 points a game off the bench at worst. And you'll think that that'd be valuable, but with his indeficiencies in other areas and people not really liking him as a player, has really destroyed his chances in the NBA. Jamal Crawford, mainly because he's older, never been a defender. He has been a little inefficient the last couple years, getting shots up and getting them to go in the basket. Still is clutch, still can give you buckets, still can create a shot, still can play if he really wanted to, and if a team gave him a chance. And I still think he can contribute, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made a team if he doesn't retire. Thabo Sefolosha has been riding the bench, but he's a guy that I think will eventually make it to the NBA because of his ability to guard twos, threes, and some fours, and still go out there and compete and give you quality minutes as a defender. Those guys always find a way to make it to a roster, and even if you don't find one this summer, I can see by the buyout market in the future him making a roster then when teams are trying to build their rosters for the playoffs and giving themselves a great chance to win. I think Sefolosha will get picked up even though he's not a great three-point shooter. I think that his effort, energy, and ability not to be scared of guarding anybody in the world will eventually pay off. Probably this season, but eventually he will be going out the NBA. Nene still showed that he can be a quality big, still mobile, still can knock down mid-range and free throws, still can drive to the rim and finish. His mobility has become a problem. His defense has become a problem, and he's not rebounding the way he used to, but he still can be a solid third-string center in this NBA, and he still got some offensive skills that can still warrant him making a spot. Iman Shumpert, I was a little surprised that he hasn't got signed yet. He had a decent season in Houston, showing that he still can be a guy that can come in and give you solid minutes. He can play the one or the two because he can play off the ball. He can guard multiple positions. He's a little feisty. And if he can get a consistent three-point shot and still have the athleticism to guard multiple positions, I don't see, just like Thabo Sefolosha, him staying out the NBA the entire season. But he's stuck right now, not on the roster at all. Dante Cunningham is another guy that eventually will make a roster because he is a versatile guy that knows his role, doesn't try to do too much, not trying to force anything. He knows what he is, he knows what he can do, and he's just a solid veteran that coaches and players respect. And I think that he has the skills still to play. It's just about finding that roster that's willing to give him that shot. And I think eventually he'll find a way on a roster. Jody Meeks barely made it to a roster last year. He's a guy that can play that too and hit those threes and get hot. He's a guy that can still shoot and still make an impact on the game. Never really was a great scorer outside of three the last couple years. But just like we've seen with Toronto, somebody's going to need to shoot in. Somebody's going to want somebody that can do that already on a roster. And I think eventually he'll find a home just because he can still knock down the three and be a threat from that three-point line. And having a three-point shooter on your bench eventually pays off, and Jody Meeks still can do that. Ryan Anderson has fell off since he left Houston. He was a guy that was a knockdown three-point shooter. He was a big deal when the Houston signed him a couple years ago, and he had a big role on that Houston team. Eventually, some injuries slowed him down. His defense started becoming to the point where nobody wanted him on their team anymore because he became so much of a liability that every player kept switching on him. Forcing the switch to put them on him, and then they just torched him over and over again to the point where his name got tarnished, and he hasn't really been known for his shooting, and teams have not cared that he's a great three-point shooter because of his defense being so terrible that it played him out of the NBA. Luol Deng, he got ran in the ground in Chicago, had some injuries, never could really get his career going back. He showed that he can still be a solid defender and still be a great role player, but his scoring has fell off to a significant mark where he can't really create his own shot. He can't even shoot the three consistently enough to be a guy that can do it for an 82 game schedule in 15 to 25 minutes. He still can guard multiple positions. He still can be a professional and the leader and the mentor. So I can see him making a roster if they wanted him as a locker room presence and as a veteran. But as when it comes to playing on the court, I think Luol Deng days might be over. Sean Livingston is a champion. I still think that he can be a solid player on a team that doesn't need much help. Like 15 minutes of a guy that can just come in and give you a bucket, come in and just run the offense. I think Sean Livingston will eventually make a roster, but it's just about finding the right fit and finding a team that knows how to use him to his talents and not try to make him be more or less of what he already is, because he knows his game, he knows what he can do, and then it's just about plugging them in off that bench. Monte Ellis, he's trying to make a comeback. I still think he can get to the paint. I still think he can be a great playmaker. Still not a great shooter. I think that that's something that would have extended his career if he was a great mid-range and three-point shooter. But he still has the mobility. He still has the ability to get to the paint. He still has the ability to make plays for others. I think that if he continues to show interest, somebody will eventually give him that shot as he's more focused on and really getting serious about making a return to the NBA. I think he still got skill sets that make sense in today's NBA, and I can definitely see him making a roster in the future. Corey Brewer is the last one. He's a guy that always come in and out of the league as teams need somebody to come in to play that guard or that forward position. Still can get out in transition. Still guards other best players. Still a switchable defender. Still can go out there and compete. I think that he will eventually find another roster spot. Probably not now, but probably midway through the season when somebody get injured or somebody needs a wing. He's always one of the first to call. He's in that Jody Meeks, Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith, Monte Ellis level. He's a guard. He's a forward that it will be available. Still can play. Still can contribute. Still is a veteran. Still knows how to contribute to winning. And teams that desperately need a forward or a wing, he's always one of the first to call throughout the season. And I don't see anything different. Let me know. Do you think these guys are washed up? Are they done? Will some of them make a roster? Who you think will make a roster? And do you think that this could be the end? If they don't make a roster spot this year, their career can very well must be over. Or do you think that some of these guys do need to go overseas? Like we've seen Lance Stevenson and Greg Monroe. They just decided to go overseas and show that they still can contribute and try to make the roster by the buyout and trade deadline and try to get on a playoff team or a team that's trying to get more wins before the season is over. That's always a good thing. It keeps you in shape, keeps you competing, and it shows and humbles you, and you have a different perspective, and you appreciate the NBA more when you can't play and nobody wants you. And we even seen it with Jeremy Lin. This is a guy that was on a roster, won a title, and now he can't even find a roster spot. He got to go overseas. But if you play well and you do your thing, you can find yourself on a roster spot. Probably not the beginning of the season, but towards the ending of the season, and even have a chance to contribute to a team that's in the playoffs. And that's always fun because you have a chance to win the title. And we done seen Jeremy Lin and Jody Meeks on this list. They done did it, and they ended up getting something special. We even seen the guys like Dante Cunningham and even Luol Deng made rosters. We even seen guys like Kenneth Faried and Jamal Crawford. Took a while, but they made a roster eventually before the season started. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this list. Have fun with it, enjoy it, and let me know who you think will make a roster and who won't. And let me know who you think is done for the rest of their career on this list. And if I miss somebody, you can list that too in the comment section below. Like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies, I break down players, I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching.